I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, I've done it the wrong way around. I've drawn an arrow. I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horseshoe up his ass.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona...
2 years ago. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome to another ramble from the Honest Football Podcast. I'm Craig Savage and with me as always is Charlie Betts and Daniel Cody. So how's your week been, guys? It is International Week, which is boring.
Which means we need to be a bit more creative in what we're producing, don't we? And actually this week has been quite an interesting week. Dan, you were on a training course over the weekend, which on the face of it sounds horrendous, but you managed to turn it in quite a...
Who does a training course on the weekend?
That is
technically it was over a Friday afternoon to get off. You know,
He does start his training on a Friday
I
afternoon.
will say, training on a Friday is not even ideal. But anyway, you managed to turn it into a bit... We put a positive spin on the whole week.
We don't like to get bogged down by these things. So, firstly, obviously, I've been stricken by one of the worst things that can happen to a man this week, which is, of course, man flu. But that's why we're delayed, isn't it?
It is worse than anything else in the world.
But I have fought and I have survived, and I'm here to tell the tale. So on Friday, I went to a course, and as a result, thought I'd book the weekend in a hotel in Letchworth Garden City, a lovely place not far from here. I thought I'd taken some football during the international break, which I've done. And obviously have to take in some food, which didn't go to plan.
Should we start with the food? Okay, we'll go into the football
in a minute.
Talk to us about the
food. We'll talk about the football in a minute. Post that in the evening on Saturday. Thought, let's go for a lovely bit of food, of course. Mm-hmm. And right opposite my hotel, a 24-hour McDonald's. What more could you ask
24-hour?
You said lovely bit of food.
Yeah,
wow.
It does the job.
On a Saturday evening, it does feel like...
On a Saturday evening after a long day training, watching football, you just want to get some food.
Yeah.
And what more could you want? 5 minutes, get some food, get in the hotel, and slob around like an old fat bastard. Okay. I'm of course...
So, a Saturday evening, I'm going to assume that, you know, McDonald's, a major chain, worldwide chain, is going to, on a Saturday evening, your business is probably going to be a bit more than what it would be normally. Your footfall's going to be more than most other nights of the week.
So, what I was quite surprised to learn when I went in at 8 o'clock, obviously went straight to the touchscreen, because you don't want to be waiting at the serving desk.
No, touchscreens, by the way. Best invention ever.
Well, you say the only time I don't use them is because you can only use your card, and if I don't want Louise to look at the bank statement to see that I've been having a few extra McDonald's, I then pay by cash. But yeah, the touch
until they don't have the receipt that don't print out. And
then you have to remember your number.
And then you go, where's your receipt? Because it's just been chewed up.
Well, that's so one thing that happened to me.
You went to said touchscreen.
Yes, obviously, I would have gone to the serving desk, but unfortunately, there was no one to be seen, which will feature yet again in the story later on.
Right.
I went to go to sides to know my normal order. Don't judge me.
No, go for it, go on.
Large Big Mac meal and a cheeseburger on the side.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with 2 burgers, is there?
No.
Even though one of them's a double burger, so technically I'm having 3. These things happen.
Right.
So what would I expect to find when I went to the sides menu? And in McDonald's there were no hamburgers, cheeseburgers.
No burgers?
No burgers, with the exception of quarter pounders and quarter pounder, the new double one.
Which isn't, it's not going to replace a Big Mac.
I didn't have any of the smaller buns.
The smaller buns?
Interestingly, as we later found out.
Was there any chicken or anything like that?
So there were chicken nuggets, chicken burgers, no fish if you wanted a filet fish, not like anyone who does.
No, I don't think anyone's ever eaten
if you want to make it a meal,
Sorry, you have the fillet of fish?
No, I don't have the fillet of fish, but obviously when you're with certain people that might want a quick snack, obviously that are obviously it's not allowed at McDonald's.
Right, no, I stand corrected.
Fair enough. Also, if you wanted to make it a meal, which is something I got to later on, my options were a Robinson's fruit shoot.
Oh, beautiful.
Bottle of water and an orange juice, because none of the fizzy drinks were available. Nor were half of the milkshakes and many of the side dishes. So
that is appalling.
And I was fortunate in the end that I was able to get a Big Mac, but I had to have 2 middle bits because I didn't have enough buns for the top and bottom. So my bottom of the Big Mac was a middle bit. And my other half had a hamburger, which was made of a middle and top of a Big Mac as well. So they did manage...
So it's a DIY Big Mac?
Yeah, but there was one guy who, to be fair to him, he tried to compromise and offered a solution, so I made my other half hamburger using that now. But it's not good for a Saturday night. And we're talking about 7, 8 o'clock before the mainstream in a 24-hour service.
My issue with this is that Letchworth is... Sure, it's a lovely... Is it a city?
Garden City.
Garden City. Sure, it's a lovely city. However, surely... it's not going to be the flagship McDonald's that Oxford Street or something.
It's a relatively new one, so you would expect it to.
So
be
how can they run out of burgers?
Honestly,
I don't understand how you run out of burgers.
It's like the old KFC crisis from a year or so ago. Isn't it?
I'm not criticising anyone who works at McDonald's, but surely it's already frozen and stuff. You just need to fire them out, cook them. Like
maybe
if you haven't got buns delivered, you can't do anything.
Maybe they just didn't get the delivery. I don't know.
They didn't, because about 10 o'clock in the evening, a massive lorry pulled up, which made the evening a bit noisier, but still, at least it got served.
So you did get to eat.
Did get it in the end. Almost a 15-minute wait, which defeated the object of fast food. DIY and everything.
So overall, you had a happy meal.
Essentially, yes. And then came back the next morning because I needed some breakfast on the way out. So I thought I'm going to give them.
Not this again.
I said I'm going to give them a chance to redeem themselves because it's breakfast. It's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You've only been
different
going
ingredients.
You can't get them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Everything was in stock, bar the fizzy drink still. Good news. Okay.
It's right.
What the fuck was happening to fizzy drinks?
No idea. Something's doing the machine. You know the famous one with the ice creams looked like it had dripped into the fizzy drinks.
And what did you have for breakfast?
More importantly, I had a bacon roll and hash brown.
Yeah, very good choice.
And I thought that the fast food service will have redeemed itself, and I can confirm breakfast took 14 minutes to be served. So
for a bacon roll,
you can't call yourself fast food.
It's not like one of those breakfast wraps where you got 5 or 6 different things.
Had I had a grill in the hotel room, I could have made it quicker myself. So disappointing, but the football was great. So we'll talk about that.
Okay. So basically, don't go to McDonald's in Letchworth Garden City. Is that our advice?
Unless you've got at least 15-20 minutes in your hands. Don't be fooled by thinking it's going to be fast food. But the food itself, once it was there, was absolutely lovely.
Well, it's the bog standard McDonald's then.
Yes.
Given the fact you had man flu, should give your throat a little bit of a break. So we'll take a pause on your trip to Letchworth.
If you want to have a little rant for a few minutes,
and then we'll get back to your Letchworth.
Fantastic.
So football we've been to this week. So actually, we can go back to last Saturday because we were recording this on the Sunday. Ooh. And the last time we got together before that was on the
Wednesday.
About 10 days
in August.
So
in August,
Craig and I, obviously, Craig's the manager of a team. I'm the coach for it. We had a free week in the first week of the season,
which was annoying. It was upsetting though. I didn't like that.
Obviously, this is where
due to cricket.
Well, as I say, this is where the Premier League don't have these kinds of issues. You can tell this is amateur non-league football that we couldn't play because both teams, us and them, both had a cricket pitch on their football pitch.
Yes.
That weekend.
Bad organisation by the league, by the way.
Well, I mean,
that's all I say.
So anyway, that gave us a free Saturday afternoon. So Craig and I went and watched our opposition because our first game was on a Wednesday night, which was a bit annoying.
Well, that's the day we recorded because we went for lunch after, didn't we? And
then
we went off to the football. I went to the Luton game and you went to that.
Oh, it was Saturday morning. Sorry, right? Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes.
Saturday morning. Sorry.
Yes,
fantastic profiteroles.
Yeah, they were brilliant. I've got to say, the food there was fantastic. It was a £5 lunch.
Yeah, the steak was lovely.
So anyway, went and watched them on a Saturday. Learned quite a bit, I would say. So between the two teams that were playing. And then we were playing one of them on the Wednesday evening. So went into that game. I'll be honest, we played football for about 10 minutes and managed to, what's the polite way to say it? Smash and grab a 2-1 win, but there was a lot of
2-1 win away from home.
The frustrating thing was the team we were playing were also a reserve side, and I would say that Craig and I did a fairly
some good research. Detailed
research on them. Only to find that only 5 players were playing from the squad on Saturday. Were playing on the Wednesday night.
That's unfortunate.
And they changed the formation, which obviously threw the whole thing out the window. But no, it didn't really. We had a game plan, but yeah. So Wednesday was a bit of a smash and grab. Probably, I would on the whole say a draw was possibly a fair result. They hit the bar and had 2 or 3 gilt edge chances. We had a couple, but yeah, we have got a very young team, and I think that showed maybe under the lights. It was a nice ground under the lights. Quite a few people there.
What was the scoring pattern of the game? Did you have to manage it towards the end, or
so we went 1-0 up?
1-0 down in the first half from a very bad back pass, and
the
guy knows he'd done a bad back pass. And then we got
happens to the best.
Happens to the best of us. Happens to anyone. Second half.
So we changed the formation half time. They basically had, when we watched them on the Saturday, they played 3-4-3.
Okay.
When they played on Wednesday, they played 3-5-2, and the extra man in the midfield that we didn't allow for, he was basically getting overrun in the middle.
Yeah.
So the tactician was Craig Savage, went 4-5-1, matched him man for man in midfield. Yeah. They got a bit tired out, a bit lazy in midfield because they didn't have the extra man. And I think I will say this is the only credit I will take for myself because I think our fitness showed through because we've done quite a good pre-season. And the last 15 minutes?
Yeah, we had a bit more pace on the wing and had a bit of experience. I think, or if we had a young side to start with, and then obviously brought on a bit of experience, which helped. Got the equaliser in the 77th minute or something like that. Or something.
Yeah.
and then we scored the winner with 2 minutes to go.
Fantastic.
And then the referee decided to add on 10 minutes.
Yeah. So there
doesn't matter if you held on.
There was a lot
we held on. So
there was a lot to take into the game that when this is being recorded was then played yesterday.
And then obviously what you think is fantastic. We've got the win under our
Yeah.
belts. We can build on this momentum at the weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
So how did it go?
We got rolled 3-1 by a team that will probably finish in the bottom 3 of our league, if I'm being brutally honest. They weren't a very good side.
Doesn't bode well for you.
No. No, do you know what it was? I think what I've learned, I'll take away from this, obviously I've been a non-league player, as you pointed out, for 400 different clubs, but it's what I've taken from this from being the other side of it is actually there's no such thing as consistency in non-league football at that level. Like, we had lads who on Wednesday were outstanding. Yesterday, I mean, the warm-up, even the atmosphere in the change before, it was incredibly flat. And actually, if it's not your job, it's quite hard to motivate people. If you're doing this as a hobby, if they don't want to play, they don't have to play. In the sense of obviously play, but do you know what I mean? Like,
and then
physically,
it gives you a bit of a horrible dilemma, doesn't it? Because you then have all of the plans that you've tried your best to work on consistently in training, and then you can see 4 or 5 of them just aren't in the mood.
Do
you take them out and put alternatives in, or do you stick with it and hope that the motivation comes from
the good thing with this league we've got is roll and roll of subs, so you can make the change. And then if it doesn't, obviously we can switch it again and again and again. But
so we
did switch it a bit.
Again,
better.
Well, the thing was, I think what we took away from it is we got beaten yesterday for 20 minutes. And this is not being egotistical. For 20 minutes, we played some stunning football. We missed a few really good chances, to be honest. But you can't play in 2 games, basically across 180 minutes, only turn up for 35 of them, and expect to come out with 6 points. It's just not going to happen. But I think, I learned a lot about younger players yesterday. Some of them who are hungry and want to play, did really well. Other ones, any sign of criticism, and I'm not normally that critical, but any sign of criticism, and the head goes up the backside, and it's quite difficult to get them back out there.
But obviously, the one thing we should say at this stage is at the club, you're new to the manager's job, Craig, and you're new to the coach's job, Charlie, this summer. So it's probably going to take 2 or 3 months to establish which players you can rely on a week-to-week basis, who are always going to be up for
exactly.
it.
I think what I learned about younger players yesterday is that sometimes they need to be. I try to probably, as you two lads as well, try to coach in such a way that I'm not telling them what to do. Because if I wanted to do that, I'd stay here and play Pro Evo. Do you know what I mean? If I wanted to control every single aspect of the game. But when some people are making consistently the same mistake again and again and again, and we didn't necessarily intervene with that for fear of maybe, and rightly so, embarrassing them or whatever. I think that's maybe something that we need to take a bit of ownership over, and if that's the case, almost saying, look, right, stop doing that, now do this, this and this. But because some players just aren't going to learn from their mistakes. I suppose essentially what I'm saying. Like, you keep fouling someone, keep fouling them in a certain way because you're not holding them up. You're just trying to commit yourself.
Yeah. I think the hard thing is obviously we don't record games. Obviously, luckily for the game in midweek, someone was recording the game for that home team's channel, which we greatly appreciate. By the way, it was lovely to see.
And it's another benefit you don't have at non-league level.
That's the thing. We can't just go, right, here's clip 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what you've done. Clip 1, 2, 3, and 4. You got to stop doing that because every time you do that, this is what happens.
And equally,
when you're trying to explain it through words, some will go through one ear out the other. But if you say that, we can see it, like they see the screen. Oh yeah, you're right. Actually,
I think that's the difference because even
that's the harder bit when you
go even into the non-league pyramid. Step 3, 4, 5 of that. Even there's teams now that record games, so we're probably the standard we're coaching at. We're probably on that cusp of that is still amateur football. Really, above us is when you start to get. I mean, there's teams who are only in that Div 1 of the South Mids who record games, so that's the league. That's essentially the league above record matches and stuff. So that's where we are, and it does give you a massive disadvantage.
It takes into the thing of the numbers and volunteers at the level as well, because you would probably love to have someone just sitting there taking notes for you, say this has happened, this happened, this happened.
Yeah,
these are the things.
yeah.
But you can't do that.
No. Which then really
you have
tests.
2 or 3 people. One's got to be the linesman sometimes in certain leagues.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
We've got to set up the pitch, and it's a lot. It's a lot to do. That isn't football.
Yeah.
But you somehow enjoy it in one way.
Oh, you enjoy it.
But then you're like, right, I need to focus.
Which is why
I think it's a lot easier for us when we're away.
Yeah.
Than it is at
but
home.
obviously, as we just said, everything's done by volunteer, which is why you need players to take ownership over what's going on in the game a bit more than maybe. And I'm not talking about our team, just from my experience in non-league football. Sometimes it is very much like you're an amateur coach, but sometimes you're treated like a Premier League coaching staff in the sense of, right, well, why have you not brought the water out, or why have you not done this? Why is it? well, this is amateur football. You're going to have to do this. If you know you keep fouling him, or you know you're out of shape, maybe you can solve that problem as well. You know, we haven't got a 5-team analysis Opta stats.
It's
thing
sometimes
to
where clubs have to go, don't you? You go, I don't need the best player, I need the best leader, or I need the best character, or I need the best football brain. Or
yeah,
like that.
So I think we've learnt that. But anyway,
it's a tough balance to get.
Yeah, so we'll get there. So we've got a game next Saturday. As I say, it's not a disaster, but we've got a bit of work to do in training on Tuesday, and we'll go from there, won't we, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing or another, we just got to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to do a review of our season at the beginning of every episode because it was the first week.
It's the first week of this season. And the thing is,
contrast.
The thing is, we're a game behind everyone else. So, one win the game in hand, you're back up there again. I think the league we've got is you're probably going to have one team that's probably going to smash it, which they have been in certain
26 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, 26 goals in 2 games, and somehow drew 0-0. And then you might have a little bit middle, and then might have boys that you know they're going to get whipped every week.
Well, I guess that we talk about a lot of the negatives of non-league football, the things that are harder. We look at the positives, particularly for you as a manager, is unlike the Premier League, looking at Watford as an example, you're not going to be judged on your first 4 games.
No, that's true, actually. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one good thing I've noticed, and obviously we played 2 sides, away and home, the crowd was actually a respectable level.
Yeah, quite
even like ours is a park pitch, but people going to watch it, it was still quite respectable, like numbers, which I'm quite happy about. Obviously,
it's a good thing to see. Like to me, your club obviously is the most local to my front door. So if Luton aren't playing and I'm not anywhere else, that's the easiest place to go and watch football. It's free. Why wouldn't people go?
Whether you see good football is no,
I'm joking.
But that's not always the point, is it? In weeks like international weekend.
And now it's time for Ramble of the Week.
So I went to watch a Letchworth Garden City Eagles of the Herts Senior League.
Right,
current champions.
They are current champions. I believe it's step 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
same level as what we're coaching at.
yes.
Right.
So they won the league last year, as you
they
mentioned, and were unable to go up due to ground restrictions, which were the ground.
Not enough seats ready in time.
Yes, which is going to lead on to a bit later on in this, because I went to the game hoping to enjoy a game of non-league football, and from my walk to the ground and the 2 minutes around it, I came back with a puzzle that took me hours to work out.
Oh,
so,
go on.
How much was entry?
Entry was free.
Oh, good. That's a good start.
And good clubhouse and things like that as well. So let's just
Hot
get.
food?
Yes, hot and cold food. A bit like, you know, when we went to Tring and they were doing tea coffee,
Yes.
crisps, and a couple of little hot
right,
bits, so a bit
yes.
like that.
Oh, lovely.
Really decent clubhouse, actually. One of the better ones from a few lower non-league grounds I've been to. Let's get the game out of the way very quickly because it wasn't much to shout about. A 3-0 home win for Letchworth Garden City Eagles against Hatfield Town.
Recently relegated.
Fantastic news. I didn't know.
Yeah, they finished second from bottom. No, they finished bottom last season, to be honest.
If the squad's similar, I can probably see why.
Right, okay.
With the greatest respect intended. It's not really football in town, is it? 2-0 at half time. Letchworth dominated the first half. I think the word you'd use is coasted in the second half.
Yeah.
Third late goal. I've written the goal scorers' names down because I'm a professional.
I've got on my notes here.
Go for it, go on.
Craig Corcuts, Kyle Watson and Ash Kersey would have
Right.
been.
The name does ring a bell, but
It doesn't to me.
Well, not to me either.
well, he wouldn't. But I think.
But I came out just on the ground very quickly. One covered terrace, which is quite nice, does the job. It's not huge, but it's what it needs to be. And the clubhouse we mentioned, very good with selection of food and drink. It's in North Herts Leisure Centre, which is a massive facility. There's a massive gym and leisure complex to the left. The rugby club sort of dwarfs the football ground next to it because that's a lot bigger.
Oh.
And it's through loads of car parks. It's quite a hard one. It's out of the way to get to.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, all the signposts in Letchworth for football ground lead to the Hertfordshire FA, which used to be Letchworth Town FC's ground.
Yes.
Well, I think it might have just been Letchworth FC rather than
I think
Town.
it's Letchworth Town. Yeah.
Who obviously played at that ground next to it. And that's where my puzzle came into this. Because I walked past that ground and saw the Hertfordshire FA facility, which is a 4-standard stadium.
Yes, a very nice one.
A very nice stadium. One fantastic big main
huge,
stand, and then 3 nice terraces, 2 decent ones behind the goal and 1 long one behind the other side. And it hasn't been used regularly, bar 2 years, since 2002 when Letchworth FC went under.
Right.
Interestingly, just before they went under, Kerry Dixon, Chelsea former
Yes,
player, took him to the 4th round of the Vars in 99-2000.
Wow,
Then the money ran out, And
What's a
we've
shock?
said it so many
That's
times.
surprising with Kerry Dixon, mate.
Yeah.
No comment. In 2008, as we mentioned off camera a few moments ago, Baldock Town reformed and played there for 3 years. And now they went back to Baldock, and now they're ground share in Farsley Town.
They went to Hitchin.
They did. I played against
Hitchin.
Well, they had at least a year in Baldock.
Yeah, no.
They probably played
that
Hearts.
Baldock Arena.
They probably played Baldock. It's quite small.
No,
place.
So anything between Baldock and Farsley, I didn't bother to look at.
They played at Hitchin because they bar twice more.
But the thing that got me there is, as you mentioned, Letchworth Garden City Eagles couldn't be promoted because of ground restrictions.
Yeah,
they don't have.
I think there's not enough seats.
They don't have any seats in their current ground. They just have a terrace.
Yeah.
And the ground, the Hertfordshire FA one, which is literally in the next
door
facility. It's the next facility. It's the next door on the road. It would be the next postal address.
Yeah.
It's absolutely baffling. The same road links them.
Yeah. A couple of hundred seats, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
At least, if not more.
And a couple of hundred footsteps, more important. And
you said they couldn't ground share for a year, and then obviously if they wanted to get
this is the thing that gets to me. Obviously, the Herts FA facility has been done up with a 3G pitch. It can be rented out and it's used for county cup finals, youth.
Well, it
under
is
18
rented out
games,
because it's funny you say that, because when Craig and I played for Crawley under 18s, because we couldn't get, you need to have a picture of lights because it's midweek. I don't know how we ended up there. I don't know if there was another place that we couldn't play at, but it was nearer. But anyway, that was our home fixture, and I know that a couple of times that I played for county against Hertfordshire, they played out of there. What I don't understand is, like you say, that was seldom used on a Saturday, if at all. A few midweek games, which I'm sure you could place your fixtures around.
So I think
I don't understand why.
I think the problem is, to my knowledge, there have been some discussions. Obviously, it's very hard to get information on things like that. But I think what the sticking point seems to, obviously, it's Hertfordshire FA's facility.
Is it the headquarters or just a pitch that they have? Do you know what I mean?
No, it's the Hertfordshire FA's. Their offices are in there.
Right, yeah.
I think they do some of the coaching course and stuff like that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But they obviously got the ground off Letchworth to stop it being, I guess, demolished afterwards or made derelict. Yeah, but they haven't done too much with the facility, and you see a good ground like that at non-league level, and it's barely being used. It's being used for kids games and things like that.
Yeah,
I've seen the prices to rent it, which are bad but not astronomical.
No,
but the problem, obviously, for a club like Letchworth Garden City is if they move in there, the Hertfordshire FA are going to take all the sales from the clubhouse, all of the ticket admissions and things like that. So they're not actually going to make any money, Letchworth Garden City. How are they going to survive?
I think that's probably one of my favourite grounds to actually play at.
Yeah, I agree. What annoys me,
because it felt more. I know it wasn't, obviously it's a non-league ground, but it made it feel more real.
Yeah.
Like being above.
But that ground's on a level with like a Hitchin Town or something like that.
I'm going to argue. I mean, I'm sure it's bigger than Barton. You know, that's bigger ground than Barton.
It's a step 3-4 ground.
Yeah.
Very
if anything, I'd say. Oh, look, the main stand is definitely bigger than Hitchin. The main one.
Yes.
Do you know what baffles me is, like, for example, if we own the club and we ground share with Hitchin, obviously Hitchin own that ground. They're going to take money. You're talking about the Herts FA, as in they're not a club. They're there to provide football, and if anything.
And that's surely where my frustration comes.
But surely it reflects well on them if as many of their teams in their association are playing as high as possible. Like if you know, I don't know where they go from the Hearts Senior League, whether it would be South Mids.
It probably would be South Mids, yeah.
Either way, what would that be? Step 5, 6. So if they went to, but surely that looks good for them. I don't know, but maybe that would increase some sort of funding from the central FA
for the area.
if you've got a team in that level. Because I know you've got other ones in, you've got Hitchin or whatever, but surely the more you have, the more money it generates.
So I know it's funny how Baldock have to, it's literally next to Baldock, the town, and they're going past Baldock. Sorry, past Letchworth to go to Arsley. Yeah,
which
but it's about, I don't know, probably
this is where it gets me.
Miles down the road
with Herts FA is surely for them, for one team, you couldn't lower the price for them to play out of there. And the reason I say that is it's not being used anyway. Like I get it, if you are Hitchin Town and you have your own pitch, you're going to get charged what you want because obviously you have to do double the amount of fixtures.
That's it. It's opening it up and thinking in a different way. The FA say, rent it to them for a year for whatever price X, and then they keep the clubhouse things and whatever else. So it's their facility.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why football is being prevented from increasing that level.
Yeah.
When the FA have got the perfect facility for them to get promotion and playing.
Yeah. I don't understand that.
It all seems a bit of a baffling situation. If anyone knows any more details, then tell us.
Yeah.
It just, on the face of it, something seems a bit off.
So, looking at the results from yesterday's game, the league table, Letchworth Garden City, the second win of the season, probably played 3.
5-0 the week before away.
Yeah, they're up to 4th now with 7 points, only played 3 games, still unbeaten in the league. Hatfield, 5th straight loss, and sitting 2nd from bottom.
I've got to say that there was a gulf between the two sides. It did look.
The thing is, Hatfield Town, they were only the Spartan Prem about 3 seasons ago.
The problem is, same as Letchworth though. It was rugby dominated the area.
Yeah.
And I guess it is a more affluent area, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I never knew it'd be rugby dominated though.
But yeah, no, I guess I don't know if the town's rugby dominated, but the facility was much better for the rugby. But then I guess if that football ground was being used, the Herts FA, when you say the football ground's better, so
I've got two big questions for you before we finish this section. Firstly, would you go back to the McDonald's in Letchworth again, where you went?
Would you go back to Letchworth?
No, hang on. Would you go back to McDonald's?
I would go back to the area. The hotel was fantastic. New Travelodge, about under 30 quid a night. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
McDonald's, I'd probably think, can I go an hour early and get a Burger King?
But I swear there's a Sainsbury's around the corner from it.
There is a Sainsbury's.
And my second,
that's got a cafe.
That wasn't well stocked either.
And my second question, given that you'd watched all that, would you go back and watch Letchworth Garden City Eagles again?
Probably not, because the facility is the sort of one that I've seen it once. I don't need to go again.
Okay.
If they were moving to the Herts FA and they played in that arena, or a local team did, I would go there any time I was in the area.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic facility.
Fair enough.
Brasil, meu Brasil brasileiro. O Brasil samba que dá bambolear e faz gingar. O Brasil do meu amor, terra de nosso Senhor. Brasil, Brasil.
And it is now time for Tales of the Unexpected. Is that right, Craig? Oh, it's my own feature and I still can't remember the fucking name.
It's your own feature. And you don't
Can we just point out off camera every week you ask before what's the title?
So, previous weeks I've mentioned about one game, and this is why we didn't call it, I don't know, football strangest matches or anything like that, because today we'll talk about one particular player. Okay? So I'm going to say a name. I don't know if it will ring any bells. You probably won't. Carlos Henrique Raposo.
Absolutely don't know.
No, okay. So he's still alive. He was born in 1963. He's 56 years old. From Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Okay? 6 foot centre forward. Started his career at Botafogo. I can never pronounce it. Yeah, and then also part of his youth career he went to Flamengo. Okay? Still not ringing any bells to you? No, okay, so he played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 clubs between the years of 1979 and 1992. Right. Would you like to have a guess about what's unique about the fact that he played for signed by 11 professional clubs between 1979 and 1992? What could be, why would he feature on an extraordinary tale? Because that's quite a common thing to do.
Most clubs in one league played for?
No.
Played for every team in the league.
No. He didn't make a single appearance for any of them. Okay?
Wow.
So, here we go. Here is a very long story if you're up for it. You up for it, Craig? I know you're a bit tired earlier. Right, okay. So, this is... So, Carlos Henrique Raposo was nicknamed the Kaiser. Now, this is very important to our story later on.
So, he's not...
Not Franz Beckenbauer, but he looked similar to Franz Beckenbauer, which is where he got the nickname of Kaiser. So the question you want to ask is obviously, how has he played for 11 clubs and not kicked a single ball
is he like
in a competitive match?
No,
he's not a goalkeeper. No,
striker.
He was a striker, yeah.
Which is all the more puzzling.
So when he was young, he had a youth career. He was a mediocre player at best.
Okay, rubbish.
But he looked very similar, very, very, very similar to a man called Renato Gaucho, okay, which is also important, a Brazilian international, okay, and didn't play in the 1970 World Cup, but was around at that sort of time, looked a bit similar to him. So, he looks like Renato Gaucho, important part of the story. This man, Carlos Henrique Raposo, upon being released by Flamengo, couldn't get a club, just wasn't good enough. Until he had a really clever idea, which was, I'll take some VHS footage of Renato Gaucho, who I look very similar to. You can see Craig shaking his head already.
It's like the next Ali Dia. Well, this was Ali Dia before Ali Dia.
Because this is easy enough to do. It's the bit after this is where you think this is where it gets clever. So what he does is he takes these VHSs and he sends them off to various clubs across South America, mainly Brazil. Okay, because he's obviously from Brazil. He sends them off to various clubs in South America. Bearing in mind his nickname's the Kaiser. What I didn't tell you was that Renato Gaucho's nickname was also the Kaiser. Not because he looked like him, but because of the way he played like Beckenbauer. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we've got two. So when the commentator...
One plays like Beckenbauer, one looks like Beckenbauer.
So when the commentator on these VHSs who's talking about Renato Gaucho mentions the Kaiser, obviously Carlos Henrique Raposo has said that he is the Kaiser. So for all intents and purposes, on a grainy VHS in the early 1980s, late 1970s, this fella, Carlos Henrique Raposo, is Renato Gaucho because of the quality of the film. He looks like him. So he gets a trial at the club. Now this story I'm going to repeat has happened for all 11 clubs. Okay?
Wow.
He just wanted to be around football clubs. He had no intention of ever playing because he wasn't good enough. Arrives first day of training. Okay, so this is the easy part is getting a trial somewhere, getting a contract somewhere. So they now think he's an international footballer. All right, because you can't do it. There's no googling. You just assume that he is that man.
There's no internet.
With no internet, no, exactly. So he turns up at the club. All right, they've signed him on a short-term contract because of who he is, off of the name. He's not going to sign. He's not going to go there unless they sign him a short-term contract. Start saying stuff like, I've had offers from other clubs. You need to snap me up now. First training session, pulls a muscle. Can't play, can he? He's injured.
Oh no!
But
Back in then, you never had the digital scans that could prove
exactly. So short-term contract. He's injured. So they've got a choice. They either keep him on, or they pay up his contract. And he repeats the same thing again, goes off to another club. Either way, the moment he signs that contract initially, he's on to a winner. If, as the years went by though, there was issues then, because obviously medical things started to catch up a little bit. So which Carlos Henrique Raposo had what I would say is a genius idea. He claimed to have a focal infection, which I didn't realise, I've never heard this before, but apparently this is a genuine thing in sports science, that if the hygiene of your teeth isn't great, it can lead to things like torn hamstrings, stuff like that. So there's actually a link between, muscle tears and joint issues and the quality of your teeth. Now, it's very difficult to prove that that's the case, but if you can tell someone that you have a focal infection, what makes it interesting is, and this is no dispersion upon South America in the 1970s or 80s, but it's quite easy to pay someone some money to back up something. So suddenly, from the money he's made from these contracts, Carlos Henrique Raposo is now paying doctors to make up that he's got a focal infection, okay? Can't prove it otherwise, the doctors signed it. He then also manages to get journalists to write fake reports of him of playing in previous matches. Never played a ball for any of kicked the ball for any of these teams that he's played for. Gets fake news out there. He gets fans at the training ground to start chanting his name. He goes up to clubs and pretends to goes in nightclubs, pretending to either be Renato Gaucho or, another footballer who is playing for. I mean, we've got some fairly Flamengo, Fluminense he was at for a little bit. So teams like that. Never kicked the ball for him. So this is where we obviously get to the point though of how much longer can you keep this going for? So, are you ready for a bit more, Craig?
Go for it.
So, as he gets there, on the few occasions that he did actually manage to train, he clearly looked out of his depth, okay? Obviously, he had to come out every now and then to either sustain the contract he was on. But, he was at a team called Bangu, okay? And in the same way that Leicester won the league in the Premier League, this team Bangu were one game away from winning the Brazilian League in 1985, okay? They're 2-0 down in the game to win the league. But the night before, our friend Carlos Raposo is out drinking till 4 a.m, pretending to be Renato and etc. in these clubs. You seem a bit confused, Craig.
I've been confused from the start. We'll carry on.
So he gets a message sent to him from the manager saying, you need to come back, we've had an injury, etc. The night before the game, you need to come back in, you're on the bench. Obviously, this is a disaster. He's drunk and also he's thinking, right, I can't play, I'm useless. This game is to win the league. So what he does, gets put on the bench. Manager says, look, you're probably not going to come on, so just, you'll be fine. They're 2-0 down. 15 minutes to go, he thinks, right, I'm going to throw him on. He's a striker, he's been at all these other clubs. Carlos Raposo starts to panic, thinking, I can't actually come on the pitch because if I do this, my farce is over. So he goes to warm up behind the linesman. As he's warming up, I won't repeat exactly what was said, but as he's warming up...
Why? Because it's in Portuguese?
No, not because it's in Portuguese. It's homophobic, but basically... He pretends that a fan has insulted his dad. I won't lead any more into what he said, okay? To which Carlos Raposo jumps into the crowd and starts fighting the fan. The fan never said anything. What happens to Carlos Raposo? He gets sent off. He can't play in the game again. And he did this repeatedly until in 1992... Guarani Football Club finally found out actually who he was, what he'd been up to the past 11 years, and basically booed him out. But then the story, obviously in 1992, things were starting to come a bit more about international journalism, etc. Got out there, and the Kaiser was then exposed. But unfortunately, in the meantime, the amount of money he built up was incredible. He maybe got involved a little bit with some criminals, etc. But just going back really quickly to that story about when he got sent off for punching the fan, he was hoping that as well as him not being able to come on the pitch, it means that the club would pay off his contract because they're not in there anymore. The owner, who happened to be a gangster, said, what happened? Why did you end up punching the fan? He explained that it was about his dad. The gangster saw that as a badge of honour, gave him a pay rise.
Oh, for God's sake.
So the Kaiser ended up, in all of these other ways, frauding clubs. Apparently he was quite a good bloke to have around, quite a good laugh, etc. But
I'd imagine he would be if he was earning money for being a professional footballer for 13 years and he hadn't done it.
Well, and that's the thing. So, to sum it all up, there's a lot more to it, and there is actually a film about it, which I didn't realise till after I'd done a bit of research for it. But that was the story of Carlos Henrique Raposo, the Kaiser, who was the greatest footballer, who probably never actually kicked the football in a professional football match.
Love that.
So, any other business? Obviously, it is International Weekend.
Which is so boring.
Well, it is very boring, but there was one cracking story that's come out of it. Obviously, France were playing Albania at the Stade de France yesterday at the time of recording.
One of football's elite nations, the World Cup holders.
Exactly. Well, they've just exactly. So they've staged major tournaments.
Hosted the European Championship.
Yeah, they're more than used to hosting massive, tournaments, fixtures. With all due respect, a game against Albania, you think that the logistics of running that football match should be fairly easy, shouldn't you?
Correct.
Obviously, there was a 10-minute delay to kick off.
Oh.
Do you know why, Craig?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to tell us why?
Because the France Stadium,
Stade de France,
played the wrong national anthem for Albania.
They played the national anthem of
Andorra.
Which is bad enough, in some cultures, incredibly offensive.
It can be very offensive.
Luckily, Albania took a bit of jest, a bit confused.
You
but
could
I
see
think
their faces, like they were about to start singing.
Obviously,
and then
they then had to go and find the national anthem, which was, eventually they did it and found it. And you'd think, right, surely that's it now, we'll do this, announce the teams, get on with it. But what happened then, Dan?
The stadium announcer, I believe, apologised to them and referred to them as the nation of Armenia.
He did indeed.
Yes, he did.
So he apologised to the nation of Armenia, considering that Albania were playing France, which is a cock-up on two occasions, really. Which
How do you not know it's Albania?
Well, exactly. I mean,
he had two countries that he could have apologised to there and didn't get either of them right.
It just made no sense. But fair play to Albania for the management to actually say no, we're not playing until we hear our national anthem, because obviously the France national anthem played just afterwards. Mm-hmm. But it didn't matter at the end of the day. They still lost 4-1.
Yeah,
it was arguably the most exciting part of the international football weekend.
Everything has been boring.
It has been boring.
I mean, I think we will drift off and talk about that at one point in the future, because European qualifying.
I know it's all qualifiers now, because obviously you're not going to get the
but they're worse than, for me, they're worse than the friendlies. So
Nations League is so much better. Nations League is actually better.
I think
the only reason why, because it's actually more competitive.
Yeah,
because obviously it all gets teams around.
So I think we could do a separate episode about that.
So the next international break we'll be moaning about the qualifiers.
So in October we'll be moaning, and in November we'll be moaning, and that's it.
We're not known for our continuity between weeks of stories, but you're going to refer to something that we spoke about last week. Is that right?
I am. I'm going to refer to the case that dominated last week, which was obviously Bolton and Bury. Mm-hmm. And one of those clubs, Bolton, had a positive light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And they have gone mad. Right. They have gone absolutely mad. Keith Hill and David Flitcroft have joined as manager and assistant, which Craig alluded to in the last episode, I believe. And on transfer deadline day this Monday, they have signed no less than 9 players.
Well, why not?
Why not exactly?
Were you upset, Craig, it wasn't Kevin Nolan taking over?
I was a bit gutted.
Yeah. I thought it might be.
Kevin Nolan will get a job soon. Don't worry.
I didn't realise Keith Hill was from Bolton.
No, I was thinking what a silly decision that was. But he's from Bolton.
Brilliant job at Rochdale.
Yeah. So of the 9 then, is there any sort of standout, or 9 of them standout players? I don't know.
There are a couple of standout players. So in terms of the experienced one, we've got Liam Bridcutt.
Yes. Yep.
Formerly
Nottingham Forest.
From Nottingham Forest. Some may say mugged a living at Sunderland and Leeds at times in the past. But
are these
that's a bit harsh.
Free agents, or is that how they've done it?
A mix of free agents and loans.
Right. Okay.
So Liam Bridcutt was a loan, as was Verlinden, a young winger from Stoke. Jake Wright, a defender from Sheffield United. Daryl Murphy joined on a free.
Oh yeah.
Formerly a big money signing by Roy Keane at Sunderland, Irish international. Big target man, went to Newcastle for quite big money as well, didn't he? But he's gone there on a free.
Will Buckley's back from.
Will Buckley's back again.
His contract ran out at the end of last season, and obviously he's re-signed.
And nice then Chris O'Grady, one familiar face, as he was a former Rochdale striker with Keith at the club. So lots of different names, covered a variety of positions. Unfortunately, none of them played. All of the Bolton fans came in for the leasing.com trophy game, which we'll be talking about again in the future. But unfortunately, none of them played. He played their youngest ever team. They lost on penalties.
Hey, they scored a goal. They scored a goal.
So
and if they hadn't been a competent keeper at the other end, they wouldn't have scored a goal.
The big question now is, and you two are a lot more aficionados than me at this, has that team that he signed and him being there, is that enough to overturn the points deficit and keep them up? Honestly.
No.
But depending on how much further Southend's troubles go, they might not finish bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Southampton have been disastrous, and Kevin Bond, the manager, has now been sacked. Not surprised, to be honest, because
I believe he offered his resignation and then they came to a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
The term that we mentioned.
we've had this before.
Yeah,
Kevin Bond is gone from Southampton United.
But I suppose they're prepping for next year anyway, I suppose, aren't they?
The most important thing, they've got a club and they can enjoy going to support the team.
9,000 turned up, by the way, for that Leeson.com.
Fantastic.
Which is fantastic, which is probably going to be the most of any other round group game, because...
And it's going to annoy stats when we say what low attendances were there, and that's going to be the outlier, but at least there's a reason for it.
Talking of attendances, I tell you what, segues this evening are incredible. Talking of attendances, the Women's Super League started yesterday, didn't it?
Yes.
And you had the Manchester Derby.
Yeah, cracking goal.
31,000 people there.
One of my friends was in attendance,
okay.
so it was a decent game.
Yeah.
There's obviously been some nonsense on social media about the fact that there wasn't joyous celebrations at the goals, but it was a lot of young families and kids going to cheap.
What do you want them to be?
In their defence,
footy limbs.
And also in their defence, with all due respect, because of the whole VAR thing, I think people are getting so used to not celebrating a goal until we can confirm it's a fucking goal that actually I don't blame them for not getting over the top with their celebration.
There is no
However,
VAR.
that I don't know who hit it or whatever. I've only seen the replay, but that strike was
Weir.
unbelievable.
Is it Weir? So I think that might have been Weir.
Great.
But I've just seen briefly before we all met up, Chelsea were playing Tottenham at Stamford Bridge. And that was I think the surname's England actually. She just curled into the top corner. So there were some decent strikes.
The one thing I will say is, I know we mentioned it in other countries in Europe in the last season in particular, it's good to see a lot of them, particularly in the international break at the start of the season, being played at the proper football.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think that's a good idea. I think it's a great idea.
I mean, City have had a few games in the Champions League where they've not got much more than that, so that's a really great sign.
I don't see why, even if your team, the senior men's team is playing on a Sunday, why you can't just base the Women's Super League fixtures around the men's team. So if they're playing Saturday, you play on Sunday. If they're playing on Sunday, you play on Saturday. I don't see why you can't do that.
Exactly.
Maybe
go
because
for
of police matters, maybe.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to talk about two-time Olympic 800 metre gold medalist Caster Semenya, who's joined a South African women's football team. Without going into too much politics of why she can't take part in athletics, even though I thought she was completely unfairly dragged through the media and unjustly punished like that. But she signed for JVWFC. I'm not sure what the JVW stands for, but it's been was
I think the W's for women's.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. I don't know what JV is for, but they're in the women's football in South Africa is done in 9 provinces. They're in one of the top seeds in the, I mean, if you forgive me for my South African pronunciation, Gauteng province, which sounds slightly, I don't know why I said that in that kind of accent, but it's. But yeah, it was formed by the 2013 South Africa women's captain. It was formed in 2013 by South Africa women's captain Janine van Wyk, I think. But yeah, brilliant. I think it's good considering that she was obviously a world champion athlete. To keep her going in sport, I think it's fantastic. And hopefully we'll see her both on the football pitch and on the running track eventually.
Fantastic. Coming from South Africa back into Europe, I don't know if you noticed it during the week, but a team in Austria are currently not playing at their home ground due to... So, to raise awareness of deforestation and climate change, an artist called Klaus Lippmann has planted a forest inside a 32,000 seat stadium.
Right.
Okay.
And it generally, basically all over the pitch. So if I was a groundsman for this team, I'd be fuming. But apparently it was...
Did he do it with their permission?
It has been done to their permission. Right. So they are, at the moment, until late October, they're ground sharing another side. I won't say the name because it's very long.
Okay.
But yeah, at the moment it's just raising awareness, and it looks absolutely stunning. To be fair,
there's one slight issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
the team is Austria Klagenfurt.
I'm hoping that he's put a sort of an artificial surface on to do this, because otherwise he's essentially at the end of October going to be killing the forest, which would be grossly inappropriate for the point.
So basically, you're trying to say he's contradicting himself.
No, what I'm saying is, if he hasn't thought it through entirely, which we're often guilty of ourselves, he may end up contradicting himself.
I tell you what worries me. Well, not worries me, and I'm going to tread a very careful line here.
These are the thoughts of Charlie Wetts before we start.
How much difference is putting some trees in a football stadium actually going to make? And I mean that in the politest way possible.
I would do it in an area where it's a bit run down. Let's put it in forest rather than at a stadium.
Do you know where I would have done it? just outside the football stadium where people can enjoy it for years and years to come.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, have it outside the stadium.
I mean, apart from maybe going
and for 3 months.
I mean,
it's
even
ridiculous.
I'm not saying I'm a green person. I recycle plastic, but it was like at the very most, the reaction I would get from it is, "Oh, that's quite nice."
But I guess
that's it. Why ruin a football club?
I guess it has worked in an extent because with the football club's permission to do it, if he'd planted them just outside the stadium, we wouldn't have known.
No, that's true.
So I guess it has worked.
The thing is, you get football grounds that actually looks like from the outside, it looks like there's forests around it anyway. But
so it's worked as what it was. It's raising awareness and it's a publicity stunt for it, which is exactly what it's worked as. So.
Yeah, and it's not sponsored by ridiculous betting companies like Huddersfield Town have with a Paddy Power advert.
Yeah, which, I mean, I'll be honest, the Paddy Power...
Other retailers are available.
Whether they should have been fined or not...
Betting companies, sorry.
Yeah, whether they
don't use betting companies. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, whether they should have been fined or not, I don't know. I mean, that's probably a different debate. But they were fined £50,000 for the debacle of that, which, okay...
As a number on its own, non-offensive.
Yeah.
However...
When you consider that Millwall... And this is, I'm not just saying, this is not casting the whole of Millwall as
it's the last instance where a fine has been given by the FA.
Yeah, the last one to do that, which was only £10,000 for the, quite frankly, vile racist chanting. And it was from a very small minority, but it happened, and, there are sanctions for that. The comparison between, someone putting a dodgy betting thing on their strip and
for a pre-season friendly,
and vile racist chanting of human beings, for there to be a fine less for
£40,000.
It just
betting company.
It's where I think the FA have to look at that. And you can see some of the comments that people make. Raheem Sterling was quite vocal about that kind of thing recently. You can see why it upsets people. There's no logic in that.
And you can see it's not resolved.
Yeah.
The thing, I think, it is where the FA are fucking useless because they do £50,000 for a betting company. They do £10,000 for a racist chant, and then they do £10,000 for not using for one team not putting the other opponent's team name in a programme.
Yes, I saw that, and that's the worst one.
With MK Dons in Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon.
Because they didn't put it in it, 10 grand.
Yeah, AFC Wimbledon.
That's ridiculous.
See, this is what makes more fucking sense. You can't have one. You can't have the most vile thing you should do in living socially be less than a betting company. Like, I'm not saying we should do betting companies. Obviously, betting companies do sponsor a lot of things. Obviously, I like what Paddy Power do in a way. They're not actually putting sponsor on the shirt, so it leaves the shirt sponsorless. But to make it more than obviously the other two, it's scandalous.
It's not going to discourage people. In my opinion, unless you hit a club with a huge fine in such a way that then that means they have to up their ticket prices, meaning it hits the fans in the pockets. And I know you shouldn't charge all with one, but essentially I think it's the only way you're going to stop it. Fining them 10 grand for a club like Millwall is probably not loads, but it's still enough. But the comparativeness of that compared to two, what I would say is fairly minor offences, a betting thing and
it was the FA sort of the reasoning for the different things, which was a bit of a surprise for me. So in the betting company's instance and the programme instance, what they had said is that the incidents were directly affected by the club themselves, as in the club employees.
Yeah.
Whereas the racism was obviously from fans, and the clubs was partially outside their control of the club employees. Which, one, is a shit excuse.
Yeah.
Piss poor.
And secondly, that's not the point at all, is it?
No, exactly. That's
the fact that you would come out and even try and make a defence of it explains exactly where the problem is.
The fact they're trying to explain that they're saying that racing is not as bad as a massive sponsor on a shirt does say something.
And Vincent Kompany was actually the man who hit the nail on the head when interviewed about it, because he just sort of referred to the problem not being the fines that are being handed out and how they're being dealt with. He just said it's institutional in terms of if you go to the FA in any country, in Europe largely, in a league which is like the Premier League and the Football League, so multicultural, and go and look at the FA board who make those decisions and who tell players how to deal with racism should it affect them during a game, and they're all our white men.
Yeah.
No.
Hire someone young that uses a bit of common sense. You can't go with this. It's not the 1960s now.
It's so easy.
It's changed from 2019 to 2019 now. Grow up. You've got to fucking be with the times.
Don't do it to deal with one issue. It is so easy to elect a board that represents its its demographic. We have a male and female professional league now.
Yeah.
We have black, white, Asian players. We have players of all races.
Well, recently, obviously, there was a whole drive to get, I can't remember the term, but basically, Chris Powell's now involved with the...
Yeah, they got BAME.
I think that's it, sorry, at different levels of the FA, which is a great initiative.
Fantastic.
Is that going to stop the, as you mentioned, institutional racism?
No, because that hasn't been reflected in a boardroom.
And that's the thing, and it feels like it's... way I say this, it's doing stuff like that for Chris Powell and that is excellent, but in the grand scheme of things, it feels more like a token gesture to say, look, we are tackling this issue, when actually in reality, yes, I'm sure that's an inspiration and there is value in doing that, don't get me wrong. Is that going to stop people in Millwall chanting that?
In very simple terms, it does not matter what changes on the pitch, coaching teams or whatever. Nothing will change in a society or in the footballing world until the boardroom level is changed.
Yeah.
Tell you what, hire us.
Well, no, but it's interesting. Without going into politics, I completely agree with you. You look at the current, Parliament. There's a lot to be said.
It represents 10% of the public.
Yeah,
and 90% are angry.
Yeah, and
that's how it works.
And that's the thing. So, should we move on to that bit nicer story?
Bloody hell, yeah.
Current period, obviously international weekend. You got the African.
Because you're so boring.
You got the World Cup qualifiers for Africa. There was obviously, I know you don't necessarily like me banging on about these stories, but there was
one. Like it more than my one.
There was one massive shock over the weekend, which was that Somalia, 202nd in the world,
I did see this.
211, obviously beat Zimbabwe, who were 98th in the world, 1-0 in the 86th minute. And I didn't realise that Curzon Ashton's Mohammed Ali plays for him, and he's obviously I didn't know a part-time footballer. Obviously, owns his own driving school, and his brother is the captain of the Somalian national team. Obviously, they couldn't play at home. They're playing Djibouti because of security reasons.
Yes.
But the fact that, despite all the security issues that may be happening, it's quite, it's amazing they can still get a team out there and to win a game. I think it was they'd lost 14 or 15 on the bounce since then. So, 19 defeats in 8 years.
Speaking of wins, obviously Kosovo, as a footballing nation, UEFA have only been around for 2 years now. I didn't know.
16, I think.
Yeah, something. I didn't know they were still unbeaten 15 games.
Yeah.
That's a bloody hell. Good side. They're probably beating them.
But they basically, because a lot of the players who were playing for Switzerland and Albania and countries like that were eligible for Kosovo. So Sheridan Shaqiri was an example of that. Mm-hmm. But basically the best of the players who weren't playing for those nations, who were eligible, are now playing for Kosovo. Yeah. And they've built a great team spirit and they're second in England's group.
I like that. I've got no problem with that.
So finally I'm going to piss Craig off again, and it is related to a snack we've brought along today.
Possibly the best snack you could bring along, if I wanted.
And the most appropriate for football.
Yeah, an incredible snack. Do you want to go through, Dan? What are we talking about?
We are talking, of course, about Tunnocks Caramel Wafers.
I mean, a fucking unbelievable, and I don't say that often, but a fucking unbelievable snack, Craig. I cannot believe you're not interested.
And an unbelievable sponsor replacement for Iron Brew for the Scottish Challenge Cup.
I can't wait for this Challenge Cup to die.
So we talked about it in quite a lot of detail last year, because it obviously features teams from Ireland, Northern Ireland, the English National League, and from Wales in the Premier League as well. Now, Craig, you've said you want this competition to fail. A bit like we said with the leasing.com trophy with an under-23.
I just want a non-Scottish team to win it.
Exactly.
I couldn't care less who it is. If it's Connacht's Quay or Wrexham or...
And equally...
who was it? Who's in it as well?
Bohemians were in it.
Bohemians. And who's the other English team?
The other English team is Wrexham and Solihull.
Solihull was. I want any of them to win it. Couldn't care.
And there's also under-21 teams like the Checker Trophy.
I think I did see
Ballymena got Rangers, haven't they?
I think I did see Hearts lose the other day.
So there's plenty of interesting fixtures going on there. But what I wanted to talk about was the possibility of a non-Scottish winner. Mm-hmm. Obviously, a trophy's been expanded. It's now got Highland League teams in as well as Scottish Football League teams. Yeah. But most of the teams did remarkably well, and a couple that didn't were slight shocks. Mm-hmm. So Solihull Moors played against Highland's team, Kelty Hearts. Mm-hmm. Didn't play their first 11. But they were taken to penalties and only managed to win after a 1-0.
So when they didn't play their first 11 is because I now chose them to get promoted. And it fucking looks like we'll be fighting a relegation battle this year, which is what I predicted the fucking previous year.
Just quickly, obviously, we will quickly take a brief break on the Scottish Challenge Cup. But we did predict Wycombe Wanderers to go down in their top of the League One. We did predict Solihull Moors to win the...
You both had a knee-jerk reaction with Solihull, didn't you?
Yeah.
And they're near the bottom.
I had Blythe Spartans to finish top of the North. Bottom. Still not one again.
And it just proves we're fucking clueless.
So hopefully Christmas time we do our mid-season review. We'll see how fucking wrong we are again.
Let's hope they all do a Preston, don't they?
Yeah, go for it. So yeah,
sorry,
that was a
back
shock.
to
Yeah,
the
obviously
Scottish
Solihull
Cup.
was just getting through.
Back to the important news of the Tunnocks Caramel Wafer, because we need to get their name as much as possible. Please sponsor us. Fantastic. Glenarvan, Northern Irish League.
Yeah.
3-0 win away to Formarine.
Yeah.
Inverness Caledonian Thistle won on Scottish tie against Morton. They're going to be my favourites for it.
Inverness are in it?
Inverness are in it because they're in the Scottish Championship.
Oh, right. So I thought it was just League 1 and 2.
Bohemians of Ireland were out to Airdrieonians 3-2.
Right.
Where else have we got non-English teams? Connors Quay won 1-0 against Cove Rangers of the Highland League.
Yeah.
They're still doing well.
They turned over a few teams. They did quite well last year, didn't they, Connors Key?
They did. And obviously in the Europa League they built Kilmarnock this year, so they've got a bit of experience against Scottish teams. And TNS were the biggest surprise exit of the round. The professional side went out to Stenhousemuir on penalties.
Right, very good. I've been to Stenhousemuir, by the way. Nothing against the people of Stenhousemuir, but there's very little there. But anyway.
But obviously a semi-professional side beating a professional Welsh team who have got quite...
How did Wrexham get on again, sorry? Did you say?
Wrexham did win. They won 1-0, I think. Let me just check. Yes, Wrexham got through. They won as well.
Oh, okay. Very good.
What's the draw? Oh, it's a draw.
Well, no, still a few more. Ballymena still got to play Rangers.
And Dundee are playing Elgin as we record this episode.
Yeah. But I think it's something to do with because in the national break. They couldn't play, so.
What? Oh, because Ballymena. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that got to do with bloody?
Well, no,
Rangers?
because it'd be because of Rangers, because of first teamers and all of that. They can't have. That's why I think it's Wednesday night they're playing Ballymena or something random like that. So.
I'm going to give you a quick update because as we're recording, you just said Dundee and Elgin City. It's currently Dundee 1, Elgin City 2.
Wow.
We could have a shock on the cards.
And Dundee are down to 10 men.
And do you know what I'm most excited about now is after this episode, eating another one of those caramel wafer bars, Craig.
Well, you have fun with that, mate.
Now it is time for our favourite part of the show, which is my quiz. And what is it called, lads?
Can you name them?
Still don't know why. Right.
Why not?
So each week we go through a quiz, we pick a topic, we pick a certain area, and I ask, can you name the players?
And it's normally no.
Normally, particularly on
No, we
Charlie's
can't.
card,
Name two. That's my record.
so we've been playing for 3 weeks now, haven't we? And Craig has won all of them. So
Yes,
this
it's
is
2-0.
So is it 2-0?
3-0.
3-0. It was 3-0. So we're on to our fourth quiz now. And because it's the international break, we've got to talk about something that's come off this week, which obviously isn't going to be on the pitch.
Can I just say, International Week is so boring.
Thank you, Craig.
Is it to do with Michael Owen and Alan Shearer?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Although that was my backup one that I nearly went.
Was that his team that Arian picked?
No,
no.
they had a fallout, didn't they?
I was going for the players. I was going to go for the players that had featured in the England team in games where both Alan Shearer and Michael Owen have played. But I came up against that.
Save that one. Save that for next international break.
I
I like
like
that. That's a good quiz.
No, because you can research.
Well, no, maybe change the 2 players. Though. I like that. Good.
But this time we've gone for awards that were announced during the last week, which was this week's Premier League Player of the Month. Which, rather surprisingly, not based on his form, but based on the club he plays for and the traditionals of it, was Timu Pukki,
Right.
who won the August 2019.
Oh, did he actually win it?
He did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
I knew he was nominated, but I didn't know he won it.
I'm
I'm actually quite glad he did.
So it was quite an interesting, really, because last season I just
I
sort
presume
of
Klopp won managers.
I don't know. I went to look back, but last season was quite an interesting one for the Player of the Month award because it was the first time since the 2011-12 season that every month was won by a different player.
Right.
Really?
So in the previous years, so
Jeepers.
12-13 we had Van Persie win it twice, 13-14 Daniel Sturridge in that famous year for Liverpool where they nearly won it, 14-15 Harry Kane's breakthrough season 2 in a row, 15-16 Jamie Vardy twice and Aguero twice, Son Heung-min in 16-17 and Kane and Salah in 17-18. 11-12 season, the last one where we had separate winners, featured some very surprising names, the likes of Demba Ba, Scott Parker, Peter Odemwingie and Nikichi Jelovic.
That would have been a great quiz that year alone, trying to guess them.
But I thought that was a bit harsh and wouldn't have got past the first one.
No.
So, as a result, we've got 9 winners from the 2018-19 season of the Premier League Player of the Month. And I'm going to ask what question? Can you name them? So, it's Charlie's turn to go first because Craig did it last week. And I'm going to ask, there's some obvious, some surprises. Yeah. Can you name them, Charlie?
I'm going to go for an obvious one because that's all I've got in my head. And I'm going to assume, and if this isn't right, I'll walk out. Mo Salah. Did he not win it?
Unfortunately, Charlie, Mo Salah did not win Premier League Player
Well, that's
of
a
the Month
fucking travesty. I mean, look, even he's shocked
in
by
the
that.
2018-19 season.
Really?
He didn't.
Okay.
Oh God. I've got one in my head, and I've got the other one in my head. I've got two choices.
I really thought this would go at least a bit longer than this.
I assume fucking Mo Salah won it, surely.
I've got two in my head. I've got Sergio Aguero.
Okay.
Get it wrong, Craig. Come on, make it exciting.
I've got Sadio Mane.
Get it wrong. Make it exciting. Go on. Just
Which
come
one
out
do you
of
go
a
for?
random one. Go Cash vs Michael and keep it alive.
It's fucking Paul Pogba. Probably would be Paul Pogba knowing him.
I can't believe that.
Which one do you want, Craig?
I'll go Sadio Mane.
Well, I can confirm for you, Craig, that in March 2019, Sadio Mane won Premier League Player of the Month.
That's
And
a
the month before in February was Sergio Aguero.
That's
Oh,
a travesty.
I was right.
Firmino get one?
Actually,
no.
go for it. Go for it.
I'm going to go for it. So let's go from the start of the year.
That's shocking.
August 2018 was what I thought was the red herring. That was Lucas Moura, who started the season.
Oh, right.
Remember
Yeah.
that hat-trick at United? At Old Trafford?
You didn't score a hat-trick at United.
You're not?
No.
No, he didn't. He came off the bench and he changed the game. Won a
He
penalty.
scored
a
two.
goal.
He scored two.
I'm thinking of Huddersfield towards the end of the season.
He scored two. Kane scored the header.
Well, there you go. But he came on and changed the game. September 2018, Eden Hazard.
Right.
Yeah,
October 2018, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
yeah, true.
November 2018, Raheem Sterling. December 2018, Virgil van Dijk, who later went on to win Player of the Year,
He
of
was
course.
in the next one, but I assume Salah.
January 2019, Marcus Rashford during United's revival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
February was Sergio Aguero. March, Sadio Mane, as Craig rightly said. And April 2019 was the rejuvenated Jamie Vardy.
I'll be honest, I would have
Come on,
got Hazard and Van Dijk after that. I wouldn't have got the rest
It's
of
only
them.
one game this year, so I didn't have an award.
Ah.
I would have got Hazard and Van Dijk and
Well-
that was it. I wouldn't have got any of the rest of them anyway.
Oh God, that's a bit embarrassing.
So it was a short
I'm
quiz.
amazed. I'm amazed Salah didn't play.
I picked this quiz because I thought it'd be longer, but unfortunately,
I think
it's been
Salah's a bit
short
greedy,
one.
but to be fair, with the other
Yeah, but I'm not saying he should have won Player of the Month, but I'm just amazed he didn't.
Interestingly, Mo Salah was the answer to my tiebreaker question, because should you have got them all correct, my question would have been, who is the only player in the last 6 years of the Premier League Player of the Month award to win it 3 times in a season? And that man was
That's Mo
previous
Salah.
season, Mo Salah.
Well, that shocked me. I wouldn't have have
So
expected
it
that.
is 4-0 to Craig Savage.
I should be
Congratulations.
talking because I should have left the room after I promised that I was going to leave the room. Go for Mo Salah.
So well done, Craig. You lead 4-0, and this quiz could get very difficult soon if I don't start doing some Northern Irish ones.
No, I don't get them
I
either.
don't want it to be like a clean sweep at the moment because
No.
The question, to be honest, the questions have been really hard.
Yeah,
It's really
you
hard.
were shocked when Mo Salah won.
Yeah, I was quite shocked.
The last one had a West Ham player in and he
Yeah,
couldn't
no,
get
that
it.
was,
So
that was tough.
Yeah,
gonna be tough for us.
yeah, he's not a West Ham player anymore.
no.
And that is it for today's ramble. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at HonestFootball3. Did we tell you? International is boring. And we'll see you next time.